Hello, welcome back to the Villa View, proudly backed by Ladbrokes. For all the latest odds then, do check out the link in the description below. Today is a preview ahead of Villa's game against Reading tomorrow. So, to do this, I am joined by Dan.
Hello.
So, first of all, I feel like we need to point out the fact that we're not playing on Good Friday like any other side in the Championship, due to the local church actually requesting, because of their services for Good Friday, that we actually play the game on Saturday, which Villa are duly obliged with, which I sort of agree with, to be honest, because we're obviously a family club. So just put that one out there. That is the reason why we are playing on Saturday and not Good Friday like everybody else is.
First off, I just want to say Villa must be playing someone in the top six, because Matt Lynch is on the preview show, so we must be playing someone who's in playoff contention. It must be a reasonably big game for you to be doing the preview, so thanks for coming on, Matt. Obviously, Reading are coming into the game off the back of a horrendous result away at Norwich, 7-1, and we played Norwich a few weeks ago and they didn't look great. So if you're losing 7-1 to Norwich, you're obviously not in the best run of form, and I think their away form has been pretty patchy. Reading for a while now, if my memory serves me correctly, I may well be wrong, but as we've seen in the Championship, you can't take anyone lightly, and there's a chance that they may raise their game. But I just think with the run that we're on, I make us favourites, to be honest.
Yeah, the performance against Norwich was damn right embarrassing for them, and to me that's sort of like set alarm bells ringing. Actually, they might not be as good as they've sort of suggested in terms of the table. You look at some of their key players though, and they've got some really good players, I must say. Experienced goalkeeper, shaky goalkeeper, and Ali Al Habsi. But overall though, they've got some really good players amongst there.
Yeah, and I've never really particularly rated Al Habsi. I always think he looks pretty suspect. I'm surprised he's playing for a team that's challenging for promotion. I mean, they're obviously no mugs, because you don't get to the top six of the Championship unless you're a fairly decent side or a robust side. So they've obviously got something about them, and I think the manager Jaap Stam has done a good job, because if you look at the team on paper, it doesn't look the strongest, but he's got them playing a certain way, and he's had them for the most part of the season. They've been effective, and that's why they are where they are. So I think he'll obviously go on and be a good manager somewhere else in the future, Stam, or maybe even next season he'll be with Reading in the Prem. But I quite like seeing ex-players who've played in my time coming on and making a good fist of being a manager. So I think Jaap Stam deserves an enormous amount of praise for getting Reading where they are.
Yeah, I must admit he's done a really good job. Brought in the likes of Jan Morgan up front, who's obviously one of the most veteran strikers you can get in the Championship. Really experienced. He's got a lot of goals from the season, laid on a lot as well. Really important that we keep an eye on him, and I think that's the key man for them. And also they've got the likes of McCleary, who's got a lot of experience as well. They've got a really good basis, as you say, and they're no mugs, and that's why they are in playoff contention at the moment, despite last week's result. How can you expect Villa to be? Obviously, the result against Burton wasn't great. A lot of reports that we were pretty poor. And then, obviously, the likes of Scott Hogan coming back into fitness. Could be interesting to see how we line up and how we actually go about the game, because obviously we haven't really got much to lose.
No, I mean, I don't think the Burton result was necessarily a terrible result. It's a bad result on the basis that if we were to have any chance of finishing in the top six, we'd have needed a miracle, and we'd have needed to win every single game. So obviously, by the virtue of the fact that we haven't won, it's a poor result from our perspective. But probably it was a pipe dream anyway. But if you're going through the season, if that game had took place earlier on in the season, you'd probably say it was a decent point. Burton have played well against us twice. I don't see that it was necessarily a bad result, especially when the talisman who'd scored the goal earlier in the game has ended up going off injured as well. It's not necessarily a bad result, and Burton, by all accounts, probably outplayed us. You've just mentioned, did you just mention Scott Hogan, or have I imagined that?
Yeah.
I think he'll come back into contention. I think Bruce will go back to 4-4-2 for this game. I think he'll sniff blood with Reading having shipped 7 last week, and I think he'll want to go 4-4-2 and have a good go and try and get that Codger and Hogan partnership to blossom, because it's something we certainly need to get right and see towards the end of the season, so we know that it works for next season's big push. So I think it'll be Johnston in goal. Hutton and Taylor pick themselves, pretty much the same with Baker and Chester, they pick themselves as well. I think Adoma will be on the right. I think Lansbury and Jednak will be in the middle, although I do have reservations about Jednak in a 4-4-2. And left mid, I think we saw a few weeks ago, I think there was the game where he started Horahan left mid. I think he'll come back in and play left mid, which I don't think is his best position, but at least he does have a left foot. And then, as we've just spoke about, I think Codger and Hogan will lead the line.
Yeah, I've matched you on that lineup, but I do think possibly Jednak could be rested for the away game on Monday, and we could see Conor Horahan in the middle of midfield perhaps, and then Andre Green coming back into the starting lineup. I don't know, that's just an alternate that could be, but I have actually matched you for my prediction lineup wise. But that is the other option at the moment, is having Andre Green on the left-hand side.
I mean, the good thing is we actually have options. I mean, Grealish came on the other week. He could potentially be involved at some point. He's been sat on the bench twiddling his thumbs for a few weeks, and he came on last week in the second half. So we do have options. I think if we are going to rest Jedinak, I'd rest him this weekend, because I think we'll need him more against the craft and the flair of Fulham's midfield. They've got a good midfield. Obviously, they've got Tom Kearney, who's one of the leading players in the Championship. So I'd rather see Jedinak rested on Saturday if we are going to rest him. But we all know Jedinak. We know what he's about. He doesn't want to be rested. He wants to play. But the good thing is that if we do want to rotate now, injuries have cleared up and we do have some decent options who haven't started games recently. Dan,
it's time for your prediction. What's the scoreline going to be?
I've gone for, I know we've ended up going for the same, which isn't actually your fault for once. It looks like I've copied you, but there was literally seconds between us making our predictions and you got them in first. I've gone for 2-0 with Codger and Hogan on the score sheet. I think we'll win. We've won a few games 2-0 at home recently, and I think we'll do the same thing again this weekend.
In the WhatsApp group that we've got, I actually predicted literally a second before you. I predicted the same. I predicted 2-0 with a Codger goal to start off with. Didn't predict a second goal, but I'm going to say Hourihane with the second one for a 2-0 win for Villa. So that is the end of today's preview for the Reading game. I'm going to be taking fan cams tomorrow afternoon. Come and speak to us after the game. Give your views on what you saw. If you have enjoyed this video, then please do drop us that like below. Comment in your predictions ahead of the game. And if you're new to the channel, then please do subscribe with your post notifications on.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.